Everybody, welcome back from Christmas break. Hope you guys had a great Christmas. I want to show you a few things that we're going to be working on. This first thing is called simplifying radical expressions, and it's a skill that you guys are going to use extensively in geometry, and you're also going to use it in next year's Algebra 2 trig class, your pre-calc class, calculus if you're a freshman or sophomore in the future. So it's a skill that I'm showing you guys. So kind of a step away from geometry and back to an algebraic type skill. Okay, so first of all, I want to show you a few things, and you've probably seen this on your calculator. This sign right here, this is called the square root sign, okay, or a radical sign. It's also known as a square root sign. The number underneath is called a radicand. So all I need you to be able to do is say is square root of a or radical a when you see that. Most people will say square root of a. Next thing is an important property that we're going to use extensively in here. The square root of a times b is equal to the square root of a times the square root of b. And what this says is that you can break up square roots into factors, such that it looks like this. This is the critical property that you're going to be using, and I'll show you one at the end of this video, and then we'll do a video that has a lot of practice questions on it. The next thing that you're going to need to be able to do to simplify a radical expression is make a list of perfect squares. And here's where the list comes from. 1 squared is 1. 2 squared is 4. 3 squared is 9. 4 squared is 16, and so on. At the beginning, as you're doing this, please have a list of perfect squares at the top of your page. Okay, have it at the top. Okay, now let's go ahead and do one. Let's say I want you guys to simplify the square root of 8. Okay, simplify the square root of 8. Now, you can actually guess at what the square root of 8 is. You can use your calculator to figure out what it is. You can also guess what the square root of 8 is. Okay, so if I did the square root of 4, I would get 2. Just watch for a second. Square root of 4, I would get 2 because 2 times 2 is 4. Remember from our list of perfect squares. And then if I did the square root of 9, I would get 3 because 3 times 3 is 9. Now, don't you agree that the square root of 8 has to be in between those? So 2 something is my guess. Okay, so let's go ahead and take a look at it. And so I'm going to type in square root. And so I hit the second button on these calculators. Did I get it? And then I hit square root. No, that didn't do it. I missed it. Square root of, there we go. So we get the square root button up there, and it's right next to this. Hit the second button and the number right next to 7, 8. And then I hit equals, and I get 2.828. This keeps on going, by the way. This is an approximation. This is not an exact answer. And so when I ask you guys to simplify the square root of 8, I don't want you to use your calculator to do it. Here's how I want you to do it. I want you to take a list. You take a look at your list of perfect squares and tell me the largest number that goes into 8. Well, obviously 1 goes into everything, right? The next largest number is 4. 4 goes into 8. Everything else is bigger than 8, so it couldn't work. So I'm going to rewrite the square root of 8 as 4 times 2. Now I'm going to go back up and use this property. If I have the square root of a times b, I can break it apart. So I'm going to break this apart into the square root of 4 times the square root of 2. And the square root of 4, 2 times 2 is 4, is 2 times the square root of 2. And that's your simplified answer because there are no perfect squares that go into 2. I'm done. Okay, and so I'm going to show you guys several examples of that in the next video. Thanks.